This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Fan, you are far from bored this weekend as we welcome you into Money Moves on a Monday. VSiN, the sports betting network, alongside Matt Brown, Stormy, Buonantony with you. We're live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. We had the start of the NBA and NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball in full force. And in fact, we've got a game actually going on right now. We're tied at 1 with the Red Sox and White Sox going head to head, but also an interesting playoff in golf we had this weekend, the NCAA Gymnastics Championships, which I know you were dialed into, and more.
Obviously. What channel was that on?
ESPN.
Was it really?
Yeah, ESPN
on big
and
ESPN?
U2. Yep.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
They had some of their stuff on ABC this week.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them. It was the
Haters
rights
gonna
things.
hate, I see
the
you.
rights thing and stuff and whatnot. But good for them. Good for them. But your team did not prevail. Though.
No, I was rooting for the Utah Utes, and they ended up coming in last of the final, which was a little bit of a buzzkill. Their best girl had her worst day. But congratulations to Oklahoma. You get the dub.
In a sport that is measured in tenths of a whatever, you can't have a bad day. Because when you're like 1/10 off, then get out of here.
Speaking of tenths of a whatever, I know this wasn't how we planned to start, but for me, the betting story of the weekend was the way that the Minnesota Wild Vegas Golden Knights game ended last night. Did you see this?
Yes. So for those of you who are not hockey fans, I'm not going to say I'm not a hockey fan. I'm going to say like I'm not an avid hockey fan.
Okay.
The end of that game, the end of that game made it very intriguing for just the layperson who is at least interested in the betting aspect of things.
So let me set the scene for you a little bit here. 8 seconds left. The Golden Knights are on a power play with a face-off at center ice. Minnesota's got an empty net, down 3-2. Total in the game is 5.5. Vegas wins the face-off. The puck is loose on the board. Brett Howden slings it down to the other end of the ice. Horn goes off. But was the clock at 0 or was it at 0.1 seconds? They go back and they re-show the replay, Matt, of when this puck is going across the line. Yes. And it's like in between the 0.1 and 0.0. So the goal ends up counting. And that means the total, instead of going under, goes over. The Vegas puck line cashes, laying the 1.5. The Vegas team total over 3.5 comes through. So if you were on the over or Vegas, like you're over the moon. And I feel so gutted and horrible for anybody who is on the under, because you won the game for 59.59 seconds. You know what I'm saying?
You also ran very pure because they were empty netted for like over 3 minutes in that game or whatever. So so you ran fairly pure that you didn't get an open net like in there against you. But then of course the ultimate bad beat in it going across with 0.1 seconds left as everyone on the puck line rejoices. As everybody knows, we talk about this all the time. Like a lot of times on the puck line, it's certainly out here in Las Vegas, you're going to get Vegas when they're heavy favorites, they're going to take the puck line instead, right? Like it's more palatable for some people to bet.
Yes.
And so that got across and cashed a lot of tickets, I imagine, out here in the Valley.
It's funny, like I contemplated betting the puck line on Vegas yesterday. I ended up staying off of it. I just put together a little favorites parlay, which NHL favorites 5-0 to this point right now. They're all covering puck lines. They're all having their team totals go over as well. So the favorite chalk has been the way of the NHL to start this NHL postseason. But I was like in my head thinking, as the empty net was open, I was like, oh man, I should have bet the puck line, but maybe it was okay that I did. And you go back and forth in your head, and then it cashes that way, and I'm like, oh. That would have been such a great story. But
it would have made you feel like you stole one. Because every now and then you feel like you get one stolen from you. It's nice to feel like you stole one.
I also loved that the broadcasters addressed it slightly. And I don't know if it was the producer who was a betting person or maybe it was Bob Wischusen, because Ryan Callahan, who was the analyst for the game, he mentioned, I was like, I've been told that the total in this game was 5.5. So But very entertaining nonetheless. We will get into plenty of NHL and NBA postseason. We got so much to get to over the course of the next 2 hours. So, albeit delayed, I apologize to you, Matt. Let's run it down with our top 5 items and guests we've got on tap today.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is The Rundown.
All right, number 1 in our top 5 today. I can't believe I failed to mention this here so far. It's draft week. We are 3 days out from round 1 of the NFL draft in Green Bay. We'll hit you with some of the latest news. Adam Schefter this morning posted an NFL draft intel article. Some of it's stuff we already knew, but there were a couple interesting notes, a couple notable tweets from insiders. So how might that direct some of what we're talking about?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because this is where you really start to form your last opinions on all of this, right? You want to go ahead and get down, I would guess, in the next 48 hours if you really want to, because as the smoke turns to fire, that's when the prices just get absolutely wacky and bonkers and stuff. And certainly these over-unders and numbers are going to move huge as well. So this is the time right now, the next 48 hours for sure.
So obviously I was heavy talking the NHL off the top, but in the NBA postseason, I don't know about you, outside of like 1 or 2 games, not a lot of suspense. Lots of blowouts. OKC was dominant against the Grizzlies, 51-point win. But on average, Sunday's games were decided by 24.8 points per game. So what did you make of the start of the NBA postseason?
Yeah. Not all that fun. Yeah, I mean, let's just be honest. If we can sit here and talk about how awesome the March Madness was and how great those games were and all of that, then we can go ahead and be honest about this. This was kind of crap. Like this was not fun. It's fine. It doesn't always have to be fun. Next games might be fun, but this first round, by and large, was not fun.
Yep. The most interesting game, at least to me, was Clippers Nuggets, which we have game 2 of coming up today, and we will preview that and talk a whole lot more about the NBA when Jonathan Von Tobel stops by in hour 2. Our senior NBA analyst here at the network, host of VSiN Primetime, will get his thoughts on all those series.
Yeah, you look and, we know this from a betting standpoint, right? Where people are like, well, there was a huge, big upset in the Warriors beating the Rockets. And it's like, it was a point.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's not enough. It's an upset, yes, because they were, in fact, underdogs. But, like, people see the 7 next to them and the 2 and they're like, huge upset. Like, it was a point and a half. Not really.
They were also a near $2 favorite in the series, which that number out to minus 350 right now, a handful of books. VSiN's own Josh Appelbaum will join us as well a little bit later on this hour, coming up in 30 minutes. VSiN Contributor, get the latest kind of from the market perspective. We love hearing about all those bet percentages, handle percentages. Josh will give us the lowdown there. And call me crazy, but on this Overreaction Monday.
Yeah, gonna be a couple of different. I'll admit I put kind of like I'm going to whine a little bit in there, but it's okay. It's fine.
Well, that's what that segment's for. Get it off your chest.
I'm going to whine a little bit. So,
let's start in the NBA, though, because you mentioned Golden State with the lone upset of the day. 95-85, the final there. So Golden State does steal home court advantage in game 1. Low scoring affair. In fact, it was the fewest points Houston has scored all season. And while we talk a lot about what the addition of Jimmy Butler has meant offensively for Steph Curry and making each other better and having that closer, it's also worth noting that Golden State's the top-ranked defense in the league since he joined their team on February 8th.
5 steals in that game for Jimmy Butler, if you want to talk about what he means with all of that. And I know we talk about like the big 3 air quote whenever we say Golden State, and people look at the stat line for Draymond Green and they see 4 points, 6 boards, and 3 assists, right? And they're just kind of like, why do we keep calling it the big 3? It's like him being out there and just annoying the other team is a huge thing, though. It is actually a real thing that makes this team better. And Draymond Green goes out there and he knows how to play that role better than anybody. And he did it again in this game. And yes, the stat line doesn't pop. And it really very rarely pops, actually, with Draymond Green. It's just the effect of him being out there is why we kind of call it the big 3 with all that. But you really did see that acquisition of Jimmy Butler coming to fruition here in this game, where he goes, not only scores and is efficient as well. Jimmy Butler sometimes not incredibly efficient, but 10 of 19 in this one as well. And like you said, outside of the 7 boards and the 6 assists, the 5 steals, he took the ball away from the other team 5 different times and got him an extra possession 5 times.
And 6 of his 25 points came in the last minute and a half that helped put this game away as well. And so we go from one Green to another. Houston's Jalen Green, 3 of 15 from the floor. Van Vliet, who's supposed to be their guy with playoff experience, he was terrible. 2 of 13 from 3. As a team, 21% from range, 6 of 29. It was just bad all around for Houston from that perspective. And as you look ahead to game 2, Golden State getting 2 in that spot. The total, though, has been adjusted to a 4.5.
Yeah, it's a deal where you look at this game and you just say, like, okay, can Houston shoot this poorly again? Probably not. They're not going to play this bad yet again. Yeah. So you understand the adjustments here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Steph Curry, I feel like it just needs to be said, some ridiculousness from him.
okay, you know what I said? The games weren't fun. It is fun watching Steph still. You know what I'm saying? Like the games themselves weren't all that fun overall, but like watching just Steph do Steph things at his advanced age, I won't say old, but at his advanced age, is still just incredibly fun.
12 of 19, including 5 triples, 31 points, had some just ridiculous shots. That inbound late in the fourth quarter where he just, it's a pop pass in and he just darts it up for 3. I joked to my husband, I was like, looks like Caitlin Clark out there.
Yeah. And I mean,
but like just shoving it, you know?
And how much he was needed between him and Jimmy Butler going for 31 and 25, right? Like they only got 14 points off the bench, right? Like they only have 14 points from their bench in this game. So like they needed every single one of those.
Speaking of lack of bench points, what the hell was going on with Milwaukee this weekend? So they fall to the Pacers 117-98 without Dame outside of Giannis. They got nothing from their starting 5. He has 36 and 12. The rest of the starting 5, no help, 14 points. They're 5 of 20 for the game, 8 rebounds and 7 assists. That's what the other 4 combined for.
Yeah, and I mean, at halftime, you thought the thing was going to be even worse than it was, right? I mean, they get outscored 33-25 in the first quarter and 34-18 in the second quarter, and you're like, wow, this could be one of those 50-point, this could end up being one of those 50-point games. But yeah, it was something about this Bucks team. Every time that we had someone on the program, we would ask, okay, who's a threat to any of these teams at the top? No one ever said the Bucks. No one ever mentioned the Bucks. Every single time that we asked them. And like you see it play out right here where the Pacers go out and get it done over this team that, again, nobody for whatever reason thought that they actually had a chance to knock off the top teams.
And there is a little bit of a question of when officially we will get Dame. I was under the impression it would be game 3, but we are seeing some movement on game 2 of this series where it opened Milwaukee getting 6, now 4.5. Could that be an indication that maybe they expect him back sooner? So we'll get into that and plenty more. We'll look at a couple NBA games that are coming up tonight, next, and a whole lot more. We're just getting started here on Money Moves.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Welcome back. Money Moves on a Monday. Matt Brown, Stormy Buonantony with you. As we mentioned off the top with regard to the NBA postseason, it hasn't been the most riveting game 1 starts that we've seen so far. So maybe we get a little bit more intrigue today. At least one of the 2 games we have. A very short spread and a little bit of movement on it. In the Western Conference, Nuggets and Clippers. Denver actually opened the favorite. Now they are getting 1 against the Clippers. There were some 1.5s this morning. I see the total currently sitting 217.5, so a little bit of a tick to the under. But game 1 of this series was no question the most interesting for me of the weekend. The Nuggets win that one in overtime, 112-110.
Yeah, you look at the box score and you're going, it's impossible that the Clippers lost this game, right? So you go in and you look, and they shot 50% from the floor. They shot 36% from 3. They shot 75% from the line. And you go down and see, oh, okay, well, the Nuggets shot 43% from the floor, 33% from 3, and then also basically the same from the line, 77% from the line. And then the glaring thing of the 20 turnovers from the Clippers compared to just 11 for the Nuggets. It's still only equal to 2-point win for the Nuggets in this thing, despite the fact having a 9 turnover differential in their favor. I like the Clippers in this game. I think that things even out here for sure. There's no way they're going to turn the ball over on a 9 differential again in this one to this Nuggets team. So I think the short favorite here is the way to go.
Yeah, I don't want to be super boring because I'm sure it's going to be a popular play today, but that's my best bet of the day. Is I love the Clippers in this spot. My one concern and my one question is there something up with Kawhi Leonard potentially a little bit? 7 of those turnovers were from him, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. And then what really stood out were the turnovers. I don't know if he just had an off day, wasn't his best, or if maybe there is still some lingering injury stuff, which is never good when you are a Clippers backer to have those concerns about Kawhi.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd be a little bit more concerned. He was 9 of 15 from the floor. I mean, like, that's really, really efficient, so made all his free throws. I don't know. I think he just had a bad day,
Okay. That's just my concern. Maybe I just have PTSD about Kawhi.
But. Yeah. I mean, some of those things like had a bad day. Again, you look at this box score, there's just no, if you compared these box scores, like historically, I would bet you that the Clippers if you mirrored this to games that look similarly, it's like I bet it's like an 85% win percentage. You know what I'm saying? Of teams that have this much disparity when it comes to the shooting. It's just like there's just not very often that you're going to turn the ball over at that rapid of a clip comparatively to the other team. So yeah, I think they kind of right the ship here. Variance goes a little bit back into their favor, as you mentioned, Kawhi with the 7. I mean, he averaged a little over 2, I think, on the course of the season. So yeah, I'm with you. This is Clippers for me.
Do you think we get another big day potentially from James Harden? Game high 32, 11 assists, 6 boards, only 2 turnovers with that stat line.
He's forgotten that he was supposedly washed. Remember when everyone was like, "Hey, James Harden's washed"? Like he's forgot that since over the last half of the season here for this Clippers team. I mean, he's objectively good. Like right now, this is not. I mean, these are multiple games. Yeah, I mean, this isn't one of those like, oh, he spikes every 10 games like we saw over the last couple seasons. Like he's more good than bad. He's been more good than bad here down the stretch, and so I can't imagine that we just see a complete fall off. Now, could we get one of those typical Harden games in which he hucks it up 27 times and it only 8 of 27 or something? Yeah, I mean, sure, that's always in the range of outcomes when it comes to Harden. But again, he has been objectively good here down the stretch. So I can't imagine that we would just assume that we're going to get bad Harden.
So I mentioned as well that I am invested on the Clippers. I didn't really have a feel for this total, though. Has ticked down a little bit through 218, now to 217.5. Did you have any feel on the total?
No, I honestly, once I just saw the Clippers as such short favorites, I just kind of locked in on that and didn't really even consider much when it came to the total aspect of it all. I mean, there might be some people who talk about, okay, it is, in Denver, so you bring the elements into play on the second night in 3 days, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, I didn't go there. I'm not going there.
So that's the second game of the day. The first one will tip off at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. Pistons Knicks. People were all over the Pistons as a dog on Saturday, and it looked good through 3 quarters. Detroit was even up 8 going into the fourth. Knicks outscored the Pistons 40-21 in the fourth quarter, which included a 21-0 run to win and cover the spread. Ultimately, where do you sit in round 2?
Yeah, what do you do here, right? I mean, this is such an incredibly hard handicap because you see the Pistons, so they can do it, right? I mean, you see that they can play with this team, but then that collapse and you just kind of go, maybe I don't want to back a team that's going to do that. I mean, we talked about this on the series price heading into this, where I thought like 330, 340, 350 was a little too much. Like if you wanted to go full season, I mean, full series price on it all, but in the game-to-game basis, I mean, the Knicks are the better team, and so it's just like how much they win by, and not a game that I'm super interested in.
Well, so yeah, it's like the Knicks are the better team, but do I really want to lay 6.5 with them? I don't see myself getting there. I'm not of the belief that a 21-0 run is like, oh, that's the real Knicks. That's the Knicks we've been waiting for this whole time. So I do wonder if the Pistons gained a little bit of confidence, at least through that run, and to see, hey, we can play with these guys. We can't let our foot off the gas. I don't know if you learned anything from being able to hang, but I definitely lean taking the points before I would lay them, just because they were the right side the bulk of the game. And I feel like I can't get away from that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, if you gave me like 100 Stormy bucks and you're like, okay, what are you going to do? I'm probably taking the 7 points that you can find with Detroit out there. I mean, if you shop around, there are 7s widely available. I'm probably taking the 7 points. Like we said, now we're getting on the other side of the 2 possessions. That's always key. You're getting into the 3 possession type game, but not one that I was running to bet for sure.
Okay, 123, 112. The final in that first game, total tonight sitting 220.5, and I don't have a play in that one either. Did you? I know we're going to deep dive into all of the games for tomorrow, but did any of those other early spreads that have already been set for later on in the week in the NBA stand out to you before we move on?
The one that obviously I think is going to jump out to a lot of people, do you get a complete clunker from the Lakers yet again? It's that's, I think, the one that everyone is going to sit there and ponder over, right? We're sitting at 5.5 right now. There is a 6 that has popped. So there has been some backing out there for this Lakers team. I don't think you get a complete clunker again from them. I think it's fair under 2 possessions with the Lakers team. That is at least an early lean for me.
I think they bounce back. And I love that you brought this game up, because now that we've seen the series price shift as dramatically as we have, and this is something I want to bring up with JVT when he joins us later on in hour 2 as well, have we moved a little bit too much in that series with the Lakers now plus 125?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah. Maybe that's the bet instead of just betting the game. I don't know. Maybe that's the bet instead of betting the game.
All of the hype was all over there. Like one game and all of that mentality and belief in LeBron and Luka and the Lakers has changed.
Right. I mean, 125. Maybe you just don't need them to cover. Why do we need them to cover the 5.5, Stormy? Why don't we just bet them to win the series? Why do we need
Food for thought? I'm just saying.
Why do we need them to cover the 5.5 tonight? Let's just let it play out, right? We think they're the better team, and then we take the spread out of it.
I do love, by the way, though, I love for Anthony Edwards that he was talking all that talk prior to, and granted, it's one game. We got a long way to go. But that he was like, I love that the Lakers are favored. Yes, please give them all the attention in the world. And then they go out and win game one in that way. Last couple minutes here in the NHL. We did mention off the top so far, it has been all chalk, all of the favorites coming through. We have 5 series underway already. 2 more are going to begin today. 4 games total in action in the National Hockey League. They made us wait for Panthers Lightning, though. Game 1 of that series will begin tomorrow. Teams that win game 1 of best of series have also gone on to win 68% of the time. So that's always just a fun little nugget to keep on there. Today in hockey, we have the Caps. $2 favorite against the Canadians. Total
Jets,
6.5.
nearly $2.
I lean under in that game. 6.5. Does that not feel too high?
The cinnamon is the same, -135 there on the under.
Yeah, I feel that's juice for a reason. I think that because this opened 5.5 and has gone through the 6 and up to the 6.5. I think that's too much of an adjustment there. I think that under 6 would have been a good bet. So now that you are getting that hook, I like the under 6.5. Oilers Kings. I feel like the Kings are going to be a popular bet today. And I'm going to talk about this series again a little bit later on in the show.
Okay.
These teams play each other every year in the playoffs, and the Oilers always win. I do not think that is the case this year. I like the Kings in game 1. I like the Kings to win the series. They have been incredible at home this year. Best home team in the National Hockey League, 31-5-4 in LA. Defensively, they're one of the best teams in the league. Darcy Kemper has been great in net for them. So at a short money line price there, I know it's the Oilers, and I know they have the best stars in the world and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and that power play. Oh my God. I understand it. I love the Kings.
If you want to do Chalk City, Caps, Jets, Avalanche, and Kings parlay will pay you $5.78. So if you just want to go Chalk City tonight, nearly 6-1 for everything to hold serve like we've seen so far.
They've all come through so far. The game 2 of Avs Stars is interesting to me tonight as well, because that 5-1 score, I'm not sure as indicative in game 1 as what the game actually showed through. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, VSiN Zone, Josh Appelbaum, going to stop by the program. Don't miss it.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Stormy, Buonantony, and Matt Brown with you here on Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM, channel 158. We've got one-day baseball game in action right now. The Red Sox up on the White Sox.
You said that wrong.
4-1.
Sacks. It's the Sacks. I was thinking about this all break because I didn't want to say it because I said it the New York way last time and I got reprimanded.
Yeah.
So
it's not Sox.
It's not Sox. Sacks. So it's the Sacks. It's not Sox. Right. I was like, oh man, don't say it the wrong way. And I didn't. Sacks.
On this Patriots Day, no less. So like a few different states celebrate this, but it's particularly big in Boston. You've got the regularly scheduled game at Fenway and the Boston Marathon. And who knows better about all of this than our next guest, Josh Appelbaum, Boston resident, who joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line, host of the All Systems Go podcast. Does a great job with breaking down the market insights for us here at the network. And it's a massive day out where you are, Josh. What's going on?
It is Stormy and Matt. Great to be with you. So yeah, it's a nice day. Sun's shining. It's like 55 degrees. And I got to tell you, Stormy, I was joking with you right before the segment started. Before I got into sports betting, I used to work in the restaurant industry, and I worked at a sports bar and grill called Jerry Remy's, the late, great Red Sox announcer. And I worked there for 2 years right out of college. And this was always my favorite day of the year because this is the day where you would clean up as a server. Like you'd make, $100, $200 in a good day. This day, you got people lined out the door at 6 a.m. ready to pregame the early game. You could make like $500, $600 serving today. So I kind of miss those days, but then also I kind of don't miss them at all.
Josh, the good Walker Buehler, 5 innings, only 3 hits, 8 Ks for him and 1 earned run. The bad, it's coming against the White Sox. So, I mean, like, what are we really learning in all of this?
Yeah, exactly. And Walker Buehler's a guy, again, they gave him a 1-year deal for like $21 million. You know, he was really great when he was healthy. And then he had some, some injury problems, of course, is a guy they're really banking on to really kind of get behind Crochet and be their number 2. I mean, the Red Sox, when they got down 1-0, you kind of could have gotten a little bit better of a live line price here. They closed this game around -270. Again, it's early, 4-1 game. But to me, guys, you lose yesterday to the White Sox. This is a series you got to sweep, at least take 3 out of 4, but hopefully they can get a President's Day win today.
I am trying to invoke a new theory of mine that every day that the White Sox and Rockies play at the same time, just doing a 2-leg parlay against them and just kind of seeing where the world takes me. That said, there are a handful of other games that are on the card today. No Rockies in action, boo for me. But Josh, as you looked through the market and started noticing some of the different things with your numbers, anything else that really stood out to you?
Yeah, so a couple games jumped out to me, Stormy, and this is going to be kind of something I'm going to lean on all year long. Home favorites. Home favorites have done very well this year in Major League Baseball. It seems chalky, it seems obvious, but they're now 143-73 on the year. You're winning these home favorites basically 67% of the time. You'd be up over $2,000 betting $100 a game on all these home favorites. So that's something in baseball that's really, really produced very well this year. So the first one that I'm going to look at today is the Detroit Tigers. Tigers are at home against the San Diego Padres. Tigers opened this game as around a -130 home favorite. You had the Padres about +115 on the money line. Pitching matchup would say, hey, take the Padres. Really good team, good record. Randy Vasquez has a 1.74 ERA. Kiter Montero for Detroit has a 9 ERA. But that's not what the market's doing. Market is steaming toward Detroit. Detroit -130 up to -140. Some shops even, closer to -135. What I like about this one is that the public is on San Diego. Nearly 60% of moneyline bets at DraftKings are on the Pods, yet the line's going to Detroit. So I like this kind of system match play to fade the trendy dog Pods and go with Detroit. I mentioned those home favorites doing well, but a lot of system matches are lighting up on Detroit here. Favorites after a loss, the bounce back system, 67%. Remember, Detroit lost to the Royals yesterday, couldn't get the sweep. Interleague home favorites have been great, 66%, 12% ROI. Home favorites with a winning record have been really good, 73% this year. You also have some correlative betting, favorite low total. So we see the line going toward the favorite Detroit. We've seen this total 8.5 down to 8. So I always like it kind of when the total's falling and the line's going to the favorite. Hopefully that portends for maybe a 4-1 game or something like that. Detroit has been good at home, 8-2. Padres just 4-5 on the road. And a little schedule spot here, I think that favors Detroit. Detroit just played a series at home against Kansas City. They played a day game yesterday, so no travel involved. Wise guys really like to fade that Sunday night baseball team that then has to travel. So you saw the Padres get a win yesterday, but now they have to go quick overnight, travel to Detroit. Luis Arraez had that collision, so he's not expected to play. So I'm going to late with the Tigers here, guys. Shop around. You can maybe find her on a -140.
Phillies on the road at the Mets. Aaron Nola for the Phillies. Tyler McGill for the Mets. Mets about -125 currently out there. +105 for the Phillies. A flat 8 on the total. What are we seeing here?
Yeah, same sort of thing here, Matt. I'm going to go with the home favorite with a line move. Give me the Mets in this one. They opened as low as like -110, -115. Immediately got steamed up to -120, now -125. Pretty good bet splits at both DraftKings and Circa. At DraftKings, public's kind of split. They kind of like Philly. They kind of like the Mets. They say might as well take the plus money with two good teams going on, matching up here. So it's 50-50 tickets. But if you look at Circa, 80% of bets, over 90% of the money is on the Mets. And that really lines up with that sharp steam move in favor of New York. A lot of system matches. Favorites with a line move this year, 66%. Favorites who made the postseason the previous year, 65%. Home favorites with a winning record. Home favorites in general. And there's kind of a wonky one, but if you're a Monday home favorite with a line move in your direction, those teams are 12-4 this year, 75%. They're nearly 70% over the last couple seasons. You have a couple or another advantage here, the correlative betting favorite low total. This total is still 8, but juiced under with that line going toward the Mets. Mets have been really good at home, 9-1. Phillies 4-5 on the road. And if this becomes a bullpen game, guys, I bet Philly a couple times this year with Nola on the bump, and I'm like, where's the old Aaron Nola? He's really struggled. He's given up, 4 or 5 runs a game. I'd like to fade Nola in this spot, and if we can get to the bullpen, hopefully that's an advantage to the Mets. The Mets have a 2.27 bullpen ERA. That's third best in baseball. Philly has a 5.81 bullpen ERA. That's the second worst in baseball. So it's a division matchup, but the line's going to the Mets. Good bet split, a lot of systems. Give me the Mets here, guys. I think you can still find a -120 at FanDuel.
Breaking down the MLB slate today with VSiN's own Josh Appelbaum. You can follow him on X at Josh_insights. And those Mets just swept in 4 games the St. Louis Cardinals, who now visit the Atlanta Braves. Braves don't look now, but they're fresh off a sweep of their own. They've won 3 in a row for the first time this season, handling business against the Twins. They're a $2 favorite in this spot today. What do the numbers tell you?
Yeah, it's a big number here, Stormy. I really don't like to go -200 or more in MLB. It just becomes a play for me where, like, hey, if you're risking a unit, you're only getting a half unit back. Also, if you really like them, do you go -1.5 at a little bit of plus money? But I did find a book still offering the Braves -190. So I played the Braves in this spot. We did see a good move toward the Braves. They open at around -175, now up to -190, -200. So good steam in their favor. You look out at Circa right now, 75% of bets, but over 90% of the money is on Atlanta. We're matching all those systems, well, a lot of them basically, that overlapped with both Detroit and the Mets. Your home favorites, your favorites with a line move, non-division favorites with steam 10 cents or more, favorite who made the postseason, favorites -150 or more are 70% with a 5% ROI this year. Non-division favorites, that's the other thing I look at when I'm playing a favorite. I kind of like to avoid a familiarity standpoint that kind of benefits the dog, levels the playing field. So the fact that these are 2 different division teams, typically that's another added bonus to the favorite. Better bullpen with Atlanta, 3.73 versus 4.64. Atlanta is 6-2 at home. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but St. Louis, awful on the road. They're 1-9 on the road this year. Atlanta, by the way, they've really struggled out of the gate. They're starting to, play a little bit better here, but they're hitting 293 at home this season. That's number 1 best home hitting team in baseball. St. Louis is only hitting 228 on the road, 15th overall. So I'll lay it with Atlanta. Again, got a -190. I don't really want to go much further than that. And also, guys, Ronald Acuna Jr., he's not far off. Maybe the Braves start to get a little hot right now.
Yeah, although he's upset with how they handled the Jared Kelenic thing. But yes, I think he will come back and be just fine. All right, let's head over to the NBA real quick. We got the Pistons on the road at the Knicks. This is currently 6.5 in favor of the Knicks. 220.5 is the total. What you got?
Yeah, so I'm going to bypass the spread here, Matt. You did see this line move a little bit toward the Knicks, -6.5 up to 7 at some shops. But I'm going to play this total, and I'm going to go over in this one. It has dipped a little bit. I got to respect the fact that, you open around 222, 221.5. You have now fallen to around 220.5. But I'm thinking this might be the low water mark. If you want to play this over here, I don't know if you're going to get a better number than 220.5. It is starting to rise back up a little bit at a couple shops. A couple things that I'll lean on. You did have 235 points in the first game. These teams played 4 times in the regular season. You averaged 232 points per game. Both teams are slightly over teams. In particular, Detroit on the road and the Knicks at home are both about 54, 55% to the over. And also you look at the pace. Detroit's a pretty quick team, 7th overall. Both teams are top 15 in offensive efficiency. And a little shout out to my friends at Rhythm who provide these AI-backed models and predictions. They have a couple models on this game where you're at around 222.5, 223 points. So I know unders had a good day yesterday, but I'm thinking this might be your best number. I'm going to take a shot on Knicks Pistons over 220.5.
Good stuff, Josh. Thanks for this, buddy. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Josh Appelbaum, everybody. Make sure you check out the All Systems Go podcast. If you want to see some of the bet and handle percentages that Josh is talking about, you got to check out VSiN.com/subscribe. Come join us right now. Our summer special, just $59 through August 1st. Unlike other sources, our betting splits are coming straight from major sportsbooks, Circa and DraftKings, giving you insight into where the sharp action is landing. Again, VSiN.com/subscribe to get access to all of that info. We'll be right back.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Ready to get in on the action? First Bet has you covered. Sign up now to gain access to exclusive promotions and bet on hundreds of thrilling horse races each and every day right from your phone or computer. Head over to firstbet.com. That's the number 1, stbet.com, and use our promo code VSiN200. That'll help you score a 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days, up to $200. Don't miss out. Start betting today at firstbet.com.
Put on your tinfoil hats.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. The whole world gone crazy.
For Call Me Crazy, but
I do say I feel like I'm taking crazy pills often. Do you? Is that a phrase that you use in the day-to-day?
Usually, I mean, when something is like jumping off the page to me of like, what is going on here?
Yes.
You know, when things are jumping off the page, I'm like, what am I missing? Am I taking crazy?
Okay, so what's your first call me crazy today? You're just like, what is going on in the world?
Well, not even necessarily what's going on in the world. A thing that happened right down the road from us, and it's the whole call me crazy. But I don't really get wrestling, but I kind of get WrestleMania, if that like makes
Go
any
on.
sense. So it's like
Wrestling?
So I don't get tuning in multiple times a week to watch, the man soap opera, which is essentially what it is. But it's kind of like the Super Bowl of that thing, right? And like there are bucket list things that I think people go and do and or at least appreciate, even if they're not necessarily into it. Look no further than a week ago with the Masters, right? Like you don't have to be a golf lover or a golf bettor to kind of get into the Masters. You could think golf is silly even, but it's the Masters, right? It's this thing that has been around forever and there's all this tradition and yada, 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 and it's the Masters, right? Same deal with any other sport. Obviously the Super Bowl is the biggest watched event of the entire year, and it's because people who are casual fans or not fans at all still tune in and watch the game. So it's kind of like that with WrestleMania, right? Like I know people were like poking fun of it, and I was like, I certainly poked fun of it. Our very own Wyatt Tomczyk went 2 days in a row, down there to the stadium. I texted him last night and I said, was that an anticlimactic ending to all of that, and everything? And like he was like, I get it. Like you kind of get wrapped into the deal. It's in a football stadium with they had 124,000 people between the 2 days. And all that, it's like, it's the Super Bowl of that.
Yeah.
So it's like, while I don't get the day-to-day, the week-to-week wrestling thing, I get the spectacle and the everything of WrestleMania.
And I think there is something to a championship event of anything. Like your Super Bowl of whatever your sport is tends to draw more eyeballs and more interest. And like I'm somebody who growing up, I loved WWF. I'm going to out myself here. I had a life-size cardboard cutout of Stone Cold Steve Austin in my youth. Like
Awesome.
I was a big fan and I went through real devastation.
He came out last night.
I saw. He's my favorite. I went through real devastation when I learned that it wasn't real. And I fought tooth and nail that it was real, and it broke me for a time. So
yeah, it's a deal where I understand that like it's kind of silly to a lot of people, right? But at the end of the day, it's their thing. So whatever.
Exactly. Do you?
Yeah.
I'm not like just like with food takes and stuff. I'm not going to yuck your yum. I'm not going to down the thing that you love. So go out there, have fun.
Yeah, do what you gotta do.
I will say, call me crazy, but The Rock should have been there. Sorry about it. That was disappointing.
What's that all about? He's got to be in the middle of filming something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
My real call me crazy butt, though, because you mentioned the Masters and all of that, I love the old school integrity that still exists to an extent in the PGA. Like in this era of sports where we have all of the flopping and it's all about the money and granted, like we have that in so many areas. Just a simple, like taking a stroke for a ball movement, and these guys, we saw Justin Thomas do it. We've seen a handful of other players do it that could be costly for them in events and still say, no, like the cameras didn't catch it. No reporters, nobody saw it. He just thought that it happened and said, no, I'm wrong. I'll take the stroke on this.
Yeah.
Like, I love that exists.
I like that he did that, and I like that there is all of that, that the golfers themselves do have all of that integrity. I think golf itself should quit being so ridiculous. Like, I think that, like, stuff like that, where it's like he obviously didn't do anything that they should just be like, bro, it's cool.
If you know what I mean? If you do have a camera that you can see it and there's no movement, then be like, you're fine.
Yeah,
sure.
like, yes.
I do think
like,
that
I
should
think
happen.
that golf should evolve at least a little bit and just be like, okay, accidents do happen, right? Like you weren't trying to do anything there and whatever. But yes, I agree with you. And it was awesome. I think that maybe karma came around for Justin Thomas as well.
Winner, chicken dinner.
That he was able to get that one home. Call me crazy, but if you need a quarterback, you should almost always draft one. We are draft week here. We're going to talk about draft next segment, but I look at this and I see that we're in this spot where everyone just starts to poke holes in all of these quarterbacks saying like, well, you could invest in this if you wanted to, or you could invest in that if you wanted to. Guess what? You can have the best defensive line in the history of the world. You can have the best offensive line in the history of the world. The most talented corners. You could have the best receiving core, but if you don't have someone that can throw the ball to those receivers, if you don't have someone that's making the right decision whenever they get the ball in their hands every single day, it does not matter how good the defensive line is, it does not matter how good the offensive line is, or the receivers, or the corners, or whatever it is. And so, taking swings at the quarterback position, people are going to, come Thursday, people are going to scream from a mountaintop at whoever ends up taking Shedeur Sanders because now it's been declared that he can't play quarterback. Or whoever overdrafts, and I say this with air quote for those of you who are not watching, Jackson Dart or whatever or something. But you cannot win in the NFL without a quarterback. I do not blame these teams taking swings when you need a quarterback because guess what? Every now and then they hit. And so when they hit, you have a stable franchise for a decade.
And quite frankly, it's more of a crapshoot than you would think, right? Like,
nobody thought Bo Nix was any good, and look what he did.
Meanwhile, everyone thought Trevor Lawrence was good, and look what he's done.
Yeah.
So
how can you ever draft Michael Penix? And then guess what happened? In a small sample size,
Yeah.
he looked pretty good. You know, I mean, it's just
No, I agree with that. I don't think you're crazy but it's one of those things where you don't truly know what you're going to get, and that is a position that is the position in the sport that's going to make your franchise successful or not successful when all is said and done. Which, when we get to the draft, I'm very curious what's going to happen with the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation because it is not looking good in a quarterback room with Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson right now. How about this one? Call me crazy, but I am a big believer in the NBA playoff zigzag theory. So I'm just looking through, and for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's like the team that wins game one, betting on the other side in game two, essentially. Like the team that loses in a fashion that you don't expect them to have lost, that they'll bounce back in the next game. And I think that public bettors, fans, at times commentators, a lot of these analysts and people will kind of overreact to the result that you see in game one. And I'm not saying I'm going to bet on every team that lost in game one, but I look at some of these spreads and like I kind of lean Pistons. I bet the Clippers today. I don't know about 5.5 or higher with the Lakers, but I don't see LeBron and Luka going down 0-2 at home, you know? Right. So that I am a believer in this angle, and I am going to bet accordingly.
Listen, I think we kind of figured that we lean that way anyway, right, with these games. And so whether it's the theory or whether we just think that, hey, you cannot, some of these teams just aren't going to play that badly back-to-back games, I'm with you. They're in that one. Let me go to this one because it's just a little bit of it's more of a rant than anything else.
Okay.
Call me crazy, but you should never look at like potential winnings until the event is like basically over. So I got out of here on Tuesday of last week, got on a plane, flew over to San Diego, and we're not allowed to sign up for DFS contests in the state of Nevada, but you can sign up in California, right? So I'm over there, put in some lineups into the big golf into the big golf contest this past week, and at hole 13 yesterday, I look and I'm winning for $200,000. Like I'm winning the contest for $200,000. And then my guys quit making putts, and other guys made some putts. And next thing you know, I fell from first all the way to 10th. Now it's still a good return on investment, right? But it was $194,000 less than it was on hole 13. So, maybe in these scenarios, just like, just don't look at potential winnings until like things are nearly done. Because when you look and you see like, oh, I'm winning 200,000 and then you win 6,000, it's like, it's still it was a $25 entry. You turn 25 into 6,000. Anybody should be happy. Yeah. And yet you walk away going, I'm not happy.
And listen,
I don't feel good.
The phrase, don't count your chickens before they hatch, exists for a reason. But it's so hard not to. So you're not crazy. You absolutely shouldn't do it. All it's going to do is create heartbreak and devastation for you 9 times out of 10. But it's impossible not to let your brain go there.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's like, dude, you turn 25 and 60, it should be jumping up and down. I'm like, no, you got to understand. Like an hour ago, it said 200,000 next to my name. Like that's not how it works.
Last 30 seconds here. And I didn't have this in the rundown, but what you're talking about reminded me of something that happened this weekend. Call me crazy, but the larger betting public and world will never stop betting 20-leg parlays because of the people who it cashes. And my husband's best friend this weekend, last $42 in his FanDuel account, hit a 20-leg parlay with the the final NBA play-in games for over $70,000. And I was like, and this is why this will never stop.
It's never going to stop. It is listen, some people do it for fun. They like the lottery ticket aspect.
Yes.
Like not everybody's in it for the ROI.
It will never stop. No matter how much money you lose in parlays, everyone will continue to bet them, and that's just the way of the world. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, resetting for hour 2, and we will, as Matt mentioned, dive into the NFL draft, which is 3 days away.